Mr. Vice Chair. My name is Javier Martinez, and I'm the Associate Director of the Partnership for Community Action. And I'm also a leader with Albuquerque Interfaith. In fact, I'd like to ask Partnership and Interfaith members to please stand up at this time. We are here in opposition to these bills. I'm a lawyer by training, so I understand the nuances of the law, but I'm an organizer by trade, and I hear and I see the stories of many of the people that are here in the room today, and what kind of suffering they go through day in and day out, living in the shadows. The arguments made in support of these bills do nothing but misinform and divide the people of New Mexico. In fact, Representative O'Neill put it perfectly when he said, this is all a distortion. We are distorting the facts. The argument of widespread fraud is simply not true. According to the Journal, Albuquerque Journal, as recently as November 2010, MPD officials were quoted as saying that only 5% of licensed applicants who didn't have a Social Security number were rejected. And that was because there were problems with the application, not necessarily because of fraud. It's an even smaller percentage that were rejected because they suspected fraud. So let's keep that in mind. That shows that the system works. As Elsa Lopez said here today, I applaud MVD and Tax and RIF for doing a great job catching those criminals that are trying to game our system. On the issue of driving permits, I think we can all agree that this is just a scarlet letter. Combined with the Executive Order 2009-011, this is going to allow our state law enforcement to do the work of immigration. When you're pulled over for speeding, and you pull out your driving certificate, that officer is going to know that you're very unlikely to be undocumented. The other point is that nothing guarantees that banking or that businesses or that our public schools will accept this driving permit as a form of ID. Whenever I go pick up my niece from school, because I have to get her home early, they ask me for an ID. If I don't have an ID, I can't pick her up. I applaud this committee and all of you for your courage. We understand that you are under a tremendous amount of pressure, much of it from out-of-state radical anti-immigrant groups. I urge you to vote for public safety, and I urge you to vote for the safety of all New Mexicans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. And obviously folks can speak their mind and petition their government. Well, there's about 10 more speakers. I'd ask folks to make some points that are helpful to this committee, and then we can go to the committee. Next up is from Albuquerque Interfaith, Reina Romero and Sharon Pruitt. And then on deck is Enlace Comunitario, and in the hole is El Centro de... Yes, please.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Sharon Pruitt, and I have lived in Albuquerque since 1969. Prior to 2003, we were hit, our car was hit several times by people who, every time, they did not have insurance. And, of course, we paid for it out of our own pocket, especially in the 70s and 80s. Why am I telling you this story? Well, it goes with everything we've been talking about today. It means if this law is passed, there will be more unlicensed, uninsured drivers. As many people here have talked about, people who are immigrants still need to go to their jobs, and I really commend Senator Chavez, who spoke about many of them are doing the work that none of our children or us would ever even think about doing. They need to get to work, they need to go pick up their children from school, they need to get their lives going. They are going to continue driving. So that is really important in my personal life. The premiums will go up because there are more uninsured drivers. And after 2003, the uninsured motorist rate has decreased from 21% to about 9% today. The other thing, immigrants right now without Social Security has contributed well over $17 million to MVD in their fees and registration. And I think right now, because we're having problems with our revenue searching, this is a real good revenue. committee will not be swayed by the fear factor and will think logically what is really best for New Mexico.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, my name is Reina Romero. I'm a leader with Albuquerque Interfaith, a member of Risen Savior Catholic Community, and a retired educator. As a parent of a high school student, I must present a driver's license. No other ID will work. When I pick my daughter up from school, when I participate in parent-teacher conferences, and I have to do many, I'm sad to say, volunteer in her school, drive students to school-related activities, and attend school-related events. In order to pay my son's UNM tuition, I must show a driver's license. I, along with thousands of other parents, and those are firm numbers in our schools, must present driver's licenses. This is an issue of public safety in all our educational institutions. Albuquerque Interfaith and its member institutions, congregations, schools, unions, nonprofits, 23 strong, strongly oppose House Bills 78 and 401 and urge defeat of this legislation.
Thank you very much. Representative from Classic Community, please.
Madam Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Claudia Medina. I'm the Executive Director of Enlace Comunitario. We provide services to immigrant victims of domestic violence in the state of New Mexico. We have been doing so for 10 years. I'm also a member of the board of the New Mexico Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And in 2003, I was also a member of the coalition. And the 33 agencies that are members of the coalition, that were members back then, unanimously supported driver's licenses for immigrants because immigrant victims of domestic violence would have a positive form of identification when they call the police. With these new proposals of having a permit or a certificate, we cannot expect that a victim of domestic violence that is undocumented is going to call the police because she's going to basically say to the police, I'm here, I'm documented. And as you know, there is a new executive order from the governor that says that if the state police finds someone undocumented, they have to call ICE. The same in Albuquerque, our police is also in agreement to send people to ICE if they don't have a proof that they are here documented. Could you imagine how many victims of domestic violence are going to be unable to call the police, are going to be completely unsafe because of these new proposals? I urge you to really reconsider